Hello and welcome to yet another edition of Healthy Living here on Times. Now, my name is Tabby Kamangala. Remember, Healthy Living is a program brought to you by MAZIM, and we discuss all things non-communicable diseases.
You have all your MAZIM information in one place. With the MAZIM mobile app, all MAZIM members register on the MAZIM mobile app. Download the app from Apple Store or Google Play Store. Install and open. Click register to register. Enter your membership number. The default membership number has 9 digits. If you don't succeed, try 11 digits. Choose your name, password, and OTP destination. Remember, when adding your mobile number, 265, not plus 265. You can also register with your email address easily and keep updated with your MAZIM account right in the palm of your hand. For more information, email info@mazim.mw or visit www.mazim.mw.
Now, joining me today is Dr. Margaret Katokoya. She's here to talk about burns. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Tammy?
I'm good. Let's get right to it, because we've heard of people saying, I have a burn, I have a burn. But maybe explain to us from a doctor perspective, what is a burn?
Okay, so a burn is any injury that is caused by heat, and it destroys your skin and even sometimes the structures that are beneath the skin. So in general, that's a burn.
What are the effects of having such an issue occur?
Well, quite a lot of things can happen when one has a burn. Sometimes it's just a matter of disfigurement, but other times it can be as life-threatening as to cause one's death. So it's a spectrum. It can just be a matter of disfigurement, or it can really destroy more systems and even lead to one's death.
It can cause death, you said?
Yes.
That's how serious a burn is?
That's how serious a burn is.
Now, how does it become a non-communicable disease?
Okay. So, a burn is a non-communicable disease because once a person, or we can say, is injured with a burn, you don't transmit it to another person. It's that person, but it leads to a lot of things. Disfigurement, which can be permanent, but we're also talking about death. So that's quite a non-communicable event.
Yes. You work in the emergency department. How many such cases do you think you meet, say, for example, in a month?
With burns, of course, they are rare. It can be one in a week, or in the place where I meet, but they are there maybe, especially sometimes it can also be seasonal. The events can be seasonal, and especially these times where now it's so cold and people need at least extra heat. So these cases can even can increase to maybe 1 in 3 days, depending on the place where they present.
1 in 3 days?
Sometimes, yes.
And if I may ask, if we could get deeper on the causes, I know you said it's due to heat, but is it that, for example, you have a kettle and maybe the water was spilt on you, or maybe you were cooking on a fire, bambaula, and then you got a burn from there? Tell us more about that.
Okay, so when we talk about heat, heat can be produced from several things. We can have water, boiling water, can produce heat if it falls on one's skin. It can just be the steam from the boiling water as well. But also, we are talking of open flames like fire on a charcoal fire, or open from the firewood that people use for daily activities. But we can also talk about smoke. So sometimes a person can be trapped in this building which is burning. They are not in contact with the actual open frames, but just the smoke which comes with this heat, which is so humid, can go through their face, through the nose, and cause even burns to their nostrils and even damage their airway.
Wait, so smoke can cause a burn?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Okay, so if it's a smoke from heavy fire, so it comes with this humidity. So it's that humidity that if it goes through one's nostril, it can burn through the structures, maybe through the nostrils, remove the hair which is in the nostrils, and it can go as deep as inside your airway. Yes, and it can cause very difficult breathing. Yes.
All right, so that's part of the effect of the smoke inhalation.
Of the smoke inhalation, yes.
What about the smoke that occurs, say, for example, when you're cooking? Does that affect us?
Okay, that one, at least it's mild, so usually it doesn't come with a heat. So not much. Yes.
Do you think that maybe in terms of awareness, that people are aware of how negatively a burn can affect, especially right here in our country, Malawi?
I think because we live in a country where use of open fire, it's a norm of the day.
Exactly.
Yeah. So some people may not take as much care, especially living people like the who are vulnerable, like the young ones. You talk of people maybe who are epileptic. If these people are left within that open fire, people don't ever know that it can be as harmful. Because it's something we use every day. So generally people don't look at it as something harmful up until the event happens.
Up until the event happens,
Yes.
and you realize that, fire or heat is not a good thing.
Yes.
Right. When we come back, we're going to talk about how you can avoid getting burnt and if there's a cure. So you might want to stay right there. We'll be back after this short break.
Life is an up and down journey where anything can happen at any time. But at any time, you have peace of mind with Mazim. Mazim offers all-inclusive affordable medical aid cover in various packages of schemes in line with your budget, with a promise to take care of you and your family in that time of dire need. From giving you access to medical services at hospitals locally and abroad, emergency evacuation, dentist, and optical care, all the way to funeral benefits. Mazim is there holding your hand, keeping you covered. For details of the medical scheme you need, call 01-820-298, 01-820-543, 0888-707-100, fax 01-820-217, email infodesk@mazim.mw, or visit www.mazim.mw. Mazim, your ultimate healthcare solution.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Healthy Living on Times. Now, joining me is Dr. Margaret Kadzokoya. We've been talking a lot about burns, what they are caused by. Now we want to talk about, usually when we talk about diseases here on the program, we ask what are the signs and the symptoms of the disease. But in this case, in terms of a burn, do you really ask that question? How do you know that you have a burn?
Okay, I think every person might know that they have a burn out of the pain. But I think what's critical is to know how severe is this burn, because that is what can urge somebody to seek the appropriate treatment.
Right.
Because with burns, we categorize them in 3 different categories.
Okay.
We have the primary burns, or the mild ones, first degree burns. So this one is whereby your skin is affected. Of course, it's painful. Sometimes you can just have a blister there. Sometimes you can just have maybe discoloration of the place. So it's a first degree.
Right.
It can heal without even you knowing. It's just a matter of some time, and then it goes. But then there are the second degree burns. These ones, they just go deeper than just your skin.
So deeper into the skin?
Into the skin now. So because the skin has got several layers.
Okay.
Yeah, so The one which we see is the first layer. So that one is the one which can be affected by the first degree. But for the second degree one, it goes deeper. So it can remove the skin, and it involves just the structures that are beneath there. So you have got some blood vessels, you have got some nerves, you have got some fatty tissue there. So it can involve those structures, and they are very painful.
Wow. Yeah.
And then there are the third degree ones. So the third degree burns, they remove everything, including the nerves. You know, there will be those burns whereby you can touch the wound and the person doesn't feel even the pain, because even the nerves on that side.
Maybe for the sake of people like me or the viewers or listeners who don't know what a nerve is, maybe just explain that to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a nerve is it's a part of the skin or the part of your body that helps you to sense, to know that there's something happening on your skin.
So it gives you the sense of touch.
Yes. So sense of touch, pain. Yeah. So that's a nerve. It helps you to know what's happening on your.
So the third degree, what does it do to the nerve?
Okay, so it burns even that one. It takes it off so that it does not function anymore. So you're not able to sense any form of touch, but also not even pain. You cannot feel the pain.
So you can be burnt, but you don't feel the pain.
You don't feel the pain
because that's how bad the burn is.
Yes,
it's affected the nerve.
Yes, so by that time, that means even you can know there's that wound. So it's not like your skin is intact.
Yeah.
But the skin is gone. There's some of the things that are down there, so it goes deeper. Yes.
I love how you've explained to us about first degree, second degree, third degree. Third degree seems to be the worst.
Yes.
Now, after your explanation of the third degree burn, is there a cure?
Yes, there is a cure. So with any burn, there is a cure. The first cure is that when you find a person who has got a burn, what you do in the first instance is what matters. So you need to make sure that the burning process itself is stopped. So I know when we are in the community, we use things like Colgate, people use flour, people use all sorts of things.
I've heard of people using eggs.
Even eggs, but that is not the rightful way.
It's not?
It's not the rightful way. The first thing is with the burn, because with any heat, it's just there and it continues to burn, although you don't see the open flames. So you want to stop that burning process. The only way to stop the burning process is to pour cold water. So when I was talking of cold water, I don't mean iced water, but running water from the tap or something in a bucket. Just pour that water on the area which is burning. So you can put it on running water, you can put it in a bucket, the place that's affected, so that the burning itself should stop. That's the first cure. Then after that, don't apply anything. It's just to keep that place covered with a clean thing, even if it's the whole body. Just cover that person properly, because if you cover them, they feel warm. They don't lose too much of the energy which they can use to start repairing. The body can start to repair itself. And after that, if you see that it's something that you can manage at home, it's good to go to the nearest hospital.
Right.
Yes.
So what you just explained to us are first aid tips.
Yes.
For what you should do when somebody gets burnt right away at that moment before you take them to the hospital.
Yes.
Can it be prevented, being burnt?
Being burnt, it's an accident. So sometimes we can prevent, but there are measures we can take. Sometimes we need to know who are the vulnerable ones. Because there are those burns which really act because you'd never anticipated. But then there are the other people you can always anticipate that they can make a wrong judgment over issues. So we are talking of the children. Because they don't have a sense of, if I take this one, I'm going to be burned. So we need to keep our children out of fire, or teach them at least that fire can burn them starting from a younger age. But also we have those people who are very vulnerable, people with conditions like epilepsy. Epilepsy is one of the things that can be triggered by a lot of things, including sometimes open fire. So you may never know when they are going to fall into an attack, an epileptic attack. So never leave an epileptic person near open fire by themselves. They should always have somebody with them.
So children and people with sensitive conditions like those with epilepsy should never be left alone around a fire. But I find that in some situations, as much as you try to avoid, say for example, children from being exposed, you find the mother is cooking and their kids just running around the house. Can that be avoided?
No.
And then they get into something and then the water falls on them.
So that can never be avoided. But we just have to be cautious around our fire. Sometimes, we might want to put some things around to mark like the space where the child cannot go. That also helps if possible.
In terms of treatment, we've spoken about the cure and the prevention, but what is the treatment for burns?
Okay, so with burns, the main treatment is cleaning up the wound with the rightful things and keeping the wound clean. That's the main cure. But for I talked of the third-degree burns. So sometimes when you go to the hospital, it might go as far as, first of all, we remove if there's any dead tissue, clean the wound up. But there are some other burns which might even involve what's known as skin grafting. So the doctor might take this is a specialized doctor, a plastic surgeon or a surgeon, can take skin, healthy skin from one part of your body, scrape it nice, harvest it nicely, and then patch it on the wound just to aid it to heal.
Really?
Yes.
They can take skin
from a plant that is not affected. They have their way of doing it, and they put it on the wound that is affected. For as long as it's a clean wound, so the wound itself knows that this is part of me, so it grows and it heals.
Wow. But take us through the process of, so I get a burn,
Okay.
and maybe somebody performed the first aid tips that you have alluded to early in the program. When I go to the hospital, where am I going? Is it the emergency department, or am I just meeting a general practitioner? Take us through that.
Okay, so for any burn, you go to any nearest hospital. So when you go to that hospital, it's the duty of the one attending to you, whether you find a doctor, a clinical officer. It's the clinical person. It's their duty to assess how severe the burn is. So once they make the judgment, or that's where the first degree, second degree, third degree burn comes from. If it's just a first degree burn, they will tell you, let's clean this up. Maybe they can even teach you on how to take care of the wound at home, even, and you don't have to go back to the hospital. But if it's a second degree burn, it needs to be managed at the hospital. And let me bring this up, that the burn, sometimes the severity also depends on where the burn is.
Okay.
So it can be a first degree burn on my arm. I can manage it at home and not even present to the hospital. Okay. Because it's just a minor wound. But it can also be that wound, the same wound, but maybe it's on the face. It's on my nose. And you know that the nose, the lips, they are one of the sensitive areas. The eyes, they are the sensitive areas. If we don't care for them in the rightful way, the disfigurement becomes permanent. But it can also be the same burn, but maybe it's on your private parts. So that one, it's already sensitive. Regardless on how deep that is, you need to go to the hospital. But any wound that you see that it's severe, or that wound that covers around an organ, maybe the arm, but it is around, you just need to go to the hospital. If it's on your trunk, on your abdomen, it's going around, you just need to go to the hospital, because the body only by itself, sometimes in trying to heal, okay, you find the burning is still continuing inside, and you might not know that the burning is happening inside. And by the time you realize, a lot of structures may have been burned. And sometimes if it's just around the arm, you might find that the skin might constrict. In constricting, then it means your blood flow to the end of the arm might not be as it's supposed to be. And if you delay, you can even lose that arm because there is not much flow. So that's why we're saying, regardless of how simple the burn is, sometimes if you see that this is something I cannot manage at home, it's good to go to the hospital. And even the burn, sometimes you have those burns whereby somebody's just covered with the soot or the soot in the face. It's all dark, and we say let's just clean them up. But we don't know that maybe the fire got inside, and if it has covered the nostrils, that means even your airway inside might also be involved. So it's just a matter of time before somebody who was rescued from a fire drops down and dies just because they are unable to breathe, simply because we thought it was just the face which was covered with the soot. Okay. So with burns, naturally, it's about visiting the nearest hospital so that the one who is there, who is well trained, can make a judgment of how best you can manage that. Yes.
Maybe before we go, is there any other related information you'd like to put across with regard to burns?
Well, as I said earlier, burns, there are things we come across every day, but we also need to be careful. Sometimes we just need to take that deliberate move and say, this is the burn, but let somebody assess it for proper management. Because even disfigurement is one thing that some people don't like to grow up and to see. So burns, though it's an everyday issue, but when we see that it's worse, it's a scenario that we can't manage at home, let's always go to the hospital and receive the proper treatment.
Thank you very much for being here.
You're welcome.
Dr. Margaret Katsokoya, they are talking to us about burns. Now, she said a very important point that I've learned. She said that if you've been burnt, it is important for you to go to the hospital, despite the fact that it could be a first-degree burn. Remember, she said there's a first-degree burn, a second-degree burn, and also a third-degree burn. But either way, it is important for you to go to the hospital. So if you have been burnt, or a family member of yours has been burnt, or a friend, please take them to the nearest hospital after you have done a first aid that she has just taught us here on this program. Remember, this is Healthy Living here on Times. My name is Tabby Kamangala, and remember also that this program is sponsored by MAZM.
Hi, this is the fitness operator and my colleague. Wate. We're here once again with another workout. Fitness operator and my colleague Wate. We thank you for training with us. COVID-19 is real. Stay safe keep fit, mask up, let social distance be the language of the day. Always remember to train. Till next time, thank you for watching.